What's up YouTube? My name is Sean and I love real estate. And on this channel, we go over real estate investing tips, strategies, and current events to help you become a better real estate investor. And on today's video, we're going to be going over the Bay Area real estate monthly market update for January of 2022. But before we get into all of that, be sure to smash the like button to help out the YouTube algorithm. And this is your first time watching one of these videos, then welcome. And on these monthly market updates, we go over real estate data for Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, San Francisco County, Alameda County, and Contra Costa County. We're going to be looking over the common metrics that real estate professionals look to see the health of the market to find out if this is a good time to buy or sell real estate in this area. So without further ado, let's hop on in. So the first thing that we're going to look at is single family home data for Santa Clara County. And the first one we're going to look at is the Santa Clara County average days on market and sales to list price ratio. So we can see here from December, the average sales to list price ratio has increased from 110% up to above 111%. So what this statistic means is if you were to put a property on the market, then on average, this property will sell for 111% of what you listed for. So as an example, let's say you put a property in the market for $1 million, then on average, it'll sell for $1.11 million. Now, of course, this isn't always the case. Sometimes property can go for 20% above asking. Sometimes it can go for less than. But on average in Santa Clara County, it goes for 111%. The next statistic we look at is days on market. So right here, the days on market have increased a little bit from 15 days in November to 16 days in December. Still not too bad. And what this means is how long does it take for a property on average to go from being put on the market by the real estate agent to having it become pending and have a contract accepted by the seller. In this case, it takes a little bit over 2 weeks for a property to go on the market, showing on open houses, to getting a contract accepted by the seller. 16 days on market is pretty fantastic. If you look at last year around this time, during the winter months, we were seeing 22%, and the sales to list price ratio was down here at 104. So as you can see, typically with seasonality, the market tends to slow down during the winter, but we're not really seeing a huge slowdown. Like there is a small uptick here in the days on market, but the average sales to list price ratio has increased. So this is very interesting to see. So the next one we look at is the months of inventory. Now what this tells us is if no other properties were put on the market today, and properties keep being sold at the current pace that's being sold at today, how long will it take for us to run out of all inventory? In this case, it looks like it'll take less than half a month for all the properties in Santa Clara County to be sold if the current pace of homes being sold continues. So this is obviously a very fantastic number. Generally speaking, for a buyer's market, this number needs to be above 3 months. Like properties in this inventory sit for 3 months, but we're way down here in half a month. So the market in the Bay Area is very, very hot. If you look at the number of homes for sale versus sold, you can see that in December, less properties get put on the market, right? People don't want to put their homes on the market during the wintertime, but it seems like demand is still there. The green lines signify how many properties are being sold, and red is how many properties are on the market. So this is pretty impressive. Usually there is a fall down, like we see last year, we have more properties on the market in January and less properties actually being sold. But 1 year later, that number has flip-flopped. We have way less properties being put on the market, but we still have a decent number actually being sold. So again, it signifies that Santa Clara County single-family homes are very, very hot. Looking at sales prices over time, we can see that there is an increase. In December of 2021, the average has surpassed $2 million and is a little bit shy of its all-time high in June. So right now we're at 2.101. So that's very impressive for Santa Clara County. All right, next we're gonna look at condos and townhouses in Santa Clara County. So you can see here average days on market and sales to list price ratio. This percentage here is a little bit lower. So it seems flat, right? These numbers are very similar at 104%. And your average days on market is 23 days. So, these numbers are the same. Condos and townhouses from November to December hasn't seen any significant change. Looking at the months of inventory, and it looks like it has dropped down here as well. If we look at the actual numbers, we can see that it's down to 0.4 months. So very, very strong. Okay, here are the number of homes for sale versus sold. And this is pretty crazy. We have so many properties being sold relative to the ones that are on the market. So condos, even in Santa Clara County, are still very good. And we can see here that sales prices over time have increased, and now we're at all-time highs. All right, next we're gonna look at single-family homes for San Mateo County. Okay, San Mateo County looks like there is a bit of a slowdown. It's now taking 22 days on average to sell versus 17 days from last month. And it looks like there's a small uptick here for the average sales to list price ratio from just under 110% to 110.5%. Months of inventory here is also pretty good at half a month. And number of homes for sale here are also in line with everything else in the Bay Area so far, where you have more properties that are being sold than are on the market. And if we look at sales price over time, we can see that it is slowly climbing up here. And I think just shy of what the peak was here in June. Yeah, just under $2.6 million. All right, let's check out townhouses and condos in Mateo County. And we can see here for the first time that our sales to list price ratio is actually falling. So this one now is at a little under 103%, and your days on market have increased to 29 days. So seems like condos and townhouses in a hot market like Mateo County is not as popular as it is in Clara County. Okay, months of inventory here has continued to decrease too. And your number of homes for sale here, this is interesting. With the slowdown, I would expect this number to have more supply than demand, but it seems like there are more properties being sold here. So this is also very interesting to see. And another thing to note is that this right here is still a lot better than it was here last year. Like last year, condos and townhouses had a really hard time selling in Mateo County. And sales price over time here have decreased a little bit from last month. So next we're gonna look at single family homes in San Francisco County. And we can see here that the days on market have increased again. Now it's averaging 28 days. And your sales to list price ratio has gone down a little bit, but you're still pretty high at 114%. So this leads me to believe that the strategy in San Francisco is just to list really low and hope your property gets bid up. And we can see from this chart here that your months of inventory are above 1 month, which signify that this market is slower than San Mateo County and Santa Clara County. Okay, looking at number of homes for sale versus sold, we can see here that throughout the entire year, there were more properties on the market than were being sold, but I guess that number is slowly going down. So this ratio is a little bit more even, right? The red bars and the green bars are pretty in line compared to where they were last year. If we look at the sales price over time, they're also kind of in this weird sine wave. And it looks like in December, the prices did go down a little bit relative to what they were in November. All right, now let's look at condos and townhouses in San Francisco County. And we can see that your sales to list price ratio has gone down a little bit too, and your average days on market have increased by a little bit. So 41 days. Still not the best time to sell your condo. It's not like the super hot market that it is in Santa Clara County. Okay, here are your months of inventory, taking over 2 months. This one's actually almost 3 months, 3.1 months. So it's a lot higher than the other ones. All right, number of homes for sale versus sold. It's still this amazingly terrible ratio for condos, where you have so many properties on the market and versus the ones that are actually sold. So, this being said, we've seen this for a while now. Condos in San Francisco are still very expensive and they're not moving. So they're probably not the best property to sell right now just because the demand isn't quite there. But this may be a good long-term hold. When things open up again and people move back to the city, who knows, maybe. And you can see here that prices have gone down a little bit, but still at 1.45 million. So you can see why people don't really want to buy these right now. With condos in San Francisco, you often have these crazy HOA dues on top of that. So not only are you paying $1.45 million for a condo, but you have these extra like $500 to $700 per month HOA dues. Whereas you can take this money and buy a huge single family home in the East Bay or even the South Bay. So that's why people aren't really interested in this right now. But if things pop back up in the city next decade or so, then this would have been a good buy. So next we're gonna look at Alameda County single family homes. You can see here that the days on market have increased to 18 days and your sale to list price ratio is down to 113%. So it's still not too bad, especially considering this is the winter months. If you look at last year, this time you had 19 days on market and your sales to list price ratio was 108%. So it's doing better than last year. Look at the months of inventory, it has gone down. So it's still pretty good. We're at under half a month. And this is your number of homes for sale versus sold. And this is pretty crazy, look at this. Look at this huge green bar. So there's still a lot of demand in Alameda County, even in December. This is insane. So again, people aren't putting their homes on the market, right? So you have less and less inventory, but you have a similar amount of demand. People are buying homes. And if you look at your sales price, interestingly, it actually has decreased a little bit. So the peak here was in October at 1.439 million, and now it's gone down to 1.326 million. All right, moving on to condos and townhouses. So unfortunately here in condos and townhouses, we have this number here that's clearly wrong. So from now on, we have to kind of ignore this number here. But you can see the average days to sell is 26 days. Your months of inventory here have decreased to around half a month as well. Number of homes for sale versus sold. There was a bit of an inversion earlier in the year where we had more properties on the market than being sold, but it looks like the demand has remained consistent throughout the year and you just have less supply in these winter months. And of course here, this is a huge mistake, unless you happen to have one property that just soared above everything else that ruined the ratio for all the other ones. But I don't believe this number to be true. So hopefully they correct this and we can ignore this data point. All right, next we have Contra Costa County, single family homes. So I guess here too, there is also a big mistake here, so we can ignore this data point. So for Contra Costa County, single family homes, your average days on market is the same at 17 days. Your months of inventory here are less than half of a month. Your number of homes for sale versus sold is also very interesting. You have so many properties that are being sold than are on the market. So there's just a lot of demand in the East Bay, South Bay, but not so much over in San Francisco. And your sale price over time has slightly decreased just by a little bit. So yeah, this is pretty solid. Numbers have remained high despite the seasonality of the winter months. People are still buying homes. All right, and finally, we'll look at condos and townhouses for Contra Costa County. Okay, your average sales to list price ratio is around 102.5%, and your days on market have increased a little bit to 23 days. Months of inventory here around 0.5 months. And your number of homes for sale versus sold, again, same pattern as before. Demand has remained constant, whereas supply have decreased. And if we look at the sales price over time, we can see that, again, it's gone down, but has remained relatively flat from November. Okay, so what's the conclusion from looking at this data today? It seems like overall, we have this similar focus where demand has remained constant. People still want to buy homes here in the Bay Area, but there's less supply because of the seasonality. People don't want to sell their homes during Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. But interestingly enough, it doesn't seem like the prices have increased with this lack of demand. So I think there's a nice balance here where people still want to buy houses, people who have their homes on the market are okay with selling it at a bit of a discount. We are seeing no signs of a slowdown right now. So it seems like people who are leaving the Bay Area probably weren't the kind of people who are buying properties in the Bay Area in the first place. And people who want to buy, they like the low interest rates, they have the savings and down payments to do this. A lot of my friends have said that 2021 was their best year of all time for loans, for being a real estate agent. Even myself as a hard money lender, I did so many loans because people were flipping houses nonstop in this crazy hot market. So was it a good time to buy real estate? I would say so. Again, interest rates are very low. The market seems very hot. A lot of people who've purchased real estate over the past few years have seen an increase of their equity because of the appreciation. People who have sold their real estate properties are generally a little bit bitter because they could have held on for a little bit longer and sold for a higher price. Again, this isn't a prediction or thing, but just based on the data from what I'm seeing, so far things look good. There is no signs of a major correction or crash going on. People who are getting these loans are getting them legitimately because of their high income from their jobs. They can afford the mortgage payments here, and they want to buy a property in this area because that's where they want their family to live. So when it comes to flipping houses, I would say, if you're new especially, stay away from these markets that take longer for a property to sell. There's a lot of markets out there that sell properties in 2 weeks or a little under 3 weeks. Those are probably your better shots because you can buy a property, fix it up, and know that it'll sell really quickly. But that's just my take on the data based on what I'm seeing here. Let me know your thoughts down below if you think that the market will continue to pick up or if there's an imminent crash coming down soon. And if you guys have enjoyed this video, please do me a huge favor and just smash the like button to help out the YouTube algorithm. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Take care.